Each year on the Great Barrier Reef, there is a rare and extraordinary encounter between man and nature. It doesn't last long, and scientists don't know why it happens at all. But for some reason, dwarf minke whales, dozens of them, descend on the area actually seeking out human company. And as Rani Sadler reports, it happens nowhere else on Earth.
Once a year, for a few short weeks, one of the most baffling wildlife mysteries on Earth takes place off the Queensland coast. Dwarf minke whales are normally timid and solitary, but every winter they become extremely curious and they seem to want to interact with people. It's a phenomenon that puzzles scientists.
There's nothing else like this that we know of on Earth. These oceanic whales, we know so little about them because they spend virtually all their lives out in the open ocean. I mean, here we are in 2010, and there's this fantastic mystery out there for us to try and solve. You are going to be in an unusual situation in the water with a large wild animal, and that may come up very close to you indeed.
Dr. Alistair Birtles is known as Professor Minke. He's the world's leading expert on the whales.
When the whale looks into your eyes and you can look back into the whale's eyes, there's a real connection. They are very curious about us.
But we know very little about the friendly whales because there's hardly any government funding for research. So scientists created this unique collaboration with tourists whose tickets fund the minke whale research project. 70-year-old Alice Ty was given a ticket on this unusual trip as a present from her son.
He said to me, you won't be just watching whales, Mum, he said you'll be actually swimming with them.
How does this compare to your everyday life?
As a senior citizen who usually only goes to bingo every day, I can assure you there's going to be quite a few stories to tell.
The story of dwarf minke whales is still being written because until a chance discovery off the Barrier Reef 29 years ago, no one even knew they existed.
It's absolutely burnt into my memory, the 5th of August, 1981. Here I am looking directly into the eye of this whale. Here is the absolute sparkle of intelligence, and it was one of the most magical experiences you could imagine.
Resort owner Rob Prettyjohn was boating off Port Douglas when he saw an unusual looking whale. He put on his snorkel and jumped in.
This beautiful, gentle, streamlined, spectacular animal, and here it was making contact with me. When I got out of the boat, I just asked everyone not to say a word to me because I had everything in my mind, and this is the original sketch that I made, and you'll see where I've highlighted the key points like the double blowhole, prominent white patches, black tip to the fin.
So you knew even then that you were seeing something really different?
For me, this was very special. I wanted to make sure that I could identify it. So I sent copies of this to the curator of mammals in the museum in Brisbane. He didn't know what it was, forwarded it on to Cambridge University. I got a handwritten letter back shortly afterwards.
A few years later, Rob's find was confirmed as a new whale, a dwarf minke.
An animal larger than an African elephant hadn't actually engaged, to my knowledge, a human being in the water prior to my swim with them.
You were the first person in the world?
I was the first person in the world.
How does that make you feel?
Brilliant.
We're out here on the very edge of Australia. We're on the edge of the continental shelf, and these whales have come in from out there. They're open ocean whales. Just for these few brief weeks, they come into the Barrier Reef. And it's unique. There's nothing else like this that we know of on Earth.
We've only been searching in a known hotspot for 15 minutes when out of nowhere, the whales find us.
3 minkies, 4 minkies.
Yeah, look!
Here he goes, he's
Here
coming up. When you see that sort of white patch, it means that they're turning over in the water and you can see their belly.
Marine biologist Dean Miller is also part of the research team.
That's a really good sign. It sort of indicates that they're fairly comfortable with the boat.
Hey, just there, right there.
They're being extremely friendly, so maybe we should get in.
Yeah, let's do it.
They cruise by effortlessly, coming closer and closer with each pass.
It's bloody amazing. There are whales everywhere. It's incredible. They're just swimming around us, saying g'day.
The whales are constantly communicating with each other. We lower a microphone into the water to listen in. Their conversations are unlike any other whale.
The minke whales have this there's a few different sounds, like a gruntal, and also then like a guitar sound. Ding-ding-ding-ding, like Beethoven's Fifth or something.
Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-dang. Whales live in an acoustic world. Once they're 30, 40, 50 metres away from each other, they've only got sound. Grunting, deep squealing, a lot of very excited animals. We think they're courting and mating and so on.
Most of these whales are adolescents. It's rare to see an adult, rarer to see a calf. It's almost like we're witnessing a teenage rite of passage.
This is kind of like a blue light disco for whales.
They come to flirt and carry on.
Yeah, I definitely think they're flirting, and sometimes I think they flirt with you too. I think they're trying to check out what's going on up here, and sticking their head up out of the water is just an opportunity to have a quick look and see what's going on.
They stay with us for almost 4 hours, and Dr. Birtles is in the water the whole time, observing their movements and sketching their markings.
This just gives us a little window into the lives of these great whales.
Like human fingerprints, the distinctive white patches on each whale are unique. Dr. Birtles seems to know many of them. He's been doing this every winter for the past 15 years.
We know that 2 of the animals we've seen have come here 5 years running, and to me that says this has got to be something important for them. You know, you don't travel thousands of kilometres and go to the same spot each year for no reason.
Now we've just got to work out what that reason is.
Exactly.
The best guess is that they come here to socialise, and then, after a few weeks of play, they return to their solitary lives, possibly in the increasingly dangerous waters of the Antarctic.
If our whales go down to the Southern Ocean, and if commercial whaling on minkies was to resume, then these whales could be at risk.
The dwarf minke's larger cousins, the minke whale, are the prime target of Japan's lethal whaling research program. The Japanese have also killed at least 16 dwarf minkies.
The idea of these beautiful little animals being at risk from exploding harpoons is quite obscene.
Isn't what we're doing here potentially endangering the whales by making them more familiar with humans? Maybe they'll swim up to a Japanese whaling boat in the Antarctic and end up getting harpooned.
Well, we've not heard about dwarf minkies going up to boats that are in the Antarctic and in the sub-Antarctic areas, so we hope that there's no habituation occurring in a permanent sort of way. The only thing we can do is to ensure that the interactions are on the whales' terms. They can decide whether to come in and interact with the passengers or not, and how long to stay and when they go.
It's our 4th day at sea and something remarkable is about to happen.
This one's crossing over towards the stern now, coming right in towards the stern.
6 whales are circling the boat, but it's only the start.
2 there, 1 off the stern.
Many more are on the way.
This is a fantastic encounter. I mean, you've got 35 different whales. There are whales coming by with close approaches, very close approaches.
The whales are even more playful and interested in us than on previous days. It's the perfect time for Alice to take the plunge.
Alice, you've got to get in. Hop on in. Oh my gosh, it's right there. It's right behind you. Stick your head in the water, right there. Right there.
For 15 fabulous minutes, Alice is in Wonderland.
All right, Alice. Fantastic, man. Incredible.
How amazing was that?
Oh, a life-changing experience. I must tell my son it's better than the box of chocolates and lunch at the RSL. Thank you so much. All you read, all you see in the documentaries, that you can be a part of that. Oh, just look at that.
Oh wow, it's right there, out of the water.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm glad to have shared that with you. Dr. Birtles and I got in the water at about 7:30 this morning. It's now 5 to 6 at night. That's 10 and a half hours. And the whales have stayed with him all day. In fact, more and more have come all afternoon. This is the best minke whale experience on record.
After 11 hours, nearly 1,000 photos and dozens of pages of notes, Dr. Birtles finally farewells the friendliest whales he's ever seen.
I really think we should give the whales a clap. What a day! That was an absolutely extraordinary day. I think we were up to close to 50 whales by the end of today.
Now, we have a theory, all of us here on the boat, that the whales actually recognise you and want to hang out with you.
Well, it's very sweet of you to say so, but no, I think they're here for each other, looking to find playmates and get together. I think the scientific data will be wonderful, but the experience is just utterly memorable, and I think will be with all of us forever.
Fantastic pictures. And the name dwarf whales is probably a misnomer. They can be as long as 8 metres and weigh up to 5 tonnes. After the break, 5 days in hell. The dramatic inside account of America's shame.
That all these people out of here with no home, no shelter.
The assumption always was, they'll be coming. This can't last any longer.
It is so pitiful and shame.